Welcome to Park Circle. Grab a Bible, read through Matthew 8, verses 18 to 22, and join me on my round as I seek to learn about Christ through this passage. We recall where we were in the previous verses in chapter 8. Jesus was healing people in the house of Peter, and we were told to look at Isaiah, that's what Jesus was fulfilling. Verse 18 contains this word now and talks about going to the other side. So I believe we've had a bit of a scene change. And so we still have a crowd, and Jesus is being confronted by some folks in the crowd who want to follow him. As I think about my own evangelism, I think I'd be super excited if I had a crowd of people following me, and important people like scribes were coming up to me and saying, "Teacher, I'll follow you wherever I go." Well, not me, but I'll follow Jesus wherever he goes. But Jesus has a little bit of a different response. Remember, we're thinking in terms of Isaiah and Isaiah's suffering servant. It changes our perspective. Instead of offering authority and power like the scribe has probably been used to pursuing, Jesus tells him that he has nowhere to lay his head. To follow Jesus is to embrace a level of homelessness and couch surfing. Where one disciple offers to follow him anywhere he goes, another says, "Let me first go and bury my father." And Jesus responds with a, "Let the dead bury their own dead. You follow me." That's harsh, kind of heavy. And yet, Christ will have no divided loyalties. He's either going to follow Jesus or he's going to worry about the cares of this world. And as his disciples, we can't really do both. Jesus bottom lines it for him. When the king calls, you answer. Honestly, I really struggle with this phrase that Jesus says, "Leave the dead to bury their own dead." It feels so heartless, and yet we know Jesus is not heartless. And so it causes me to think that this probably has something to do with leaving those who are spiritually dead outside of a relationship with Christ to deal with those who are buried, who need burying outside of a relationship with Christ. At the end of the day, I think the point of these little verses here is to bring home this idea that as Jesus is king, he is also the suffering servant. And as such, a relationship with him doesn't immediately bring all the benefits of being close to the king. Those benefits are homelessness and separation from your family. It's certainly not prestige and power and authority. Jesus is the great high priest. He is the king. And yet, right now, it may not always feel like we have the benefits of knowing the king. The sovereign Lord of all the universe lived life as a homeless man. That's thought-provoking. This means we should be quick to follow Christ, not clinging to the things of this world, but holding loosely to them, that we might be properly obedient to him. Our hope is not in reigning and ruling now, though Jesus certainly does, but in that future glory. So let's rejoice today that Christ is Lord over the law. He's Lord over all creation, able to heal and cast out demons, but he's also the suffering servant, lowly and humble. He bears our burdens and sorrows, our diseases and illnesses, but also invites us to share in his sorrow, to share in his suffering. So my hope today is that you'll rejoice in Christ, finding him worthy of a temporary sorrows and suffering for that future glory. That you'd meditate on his word, considering the extreme nature of calls to follow him. and that you'll join me next time.